Welcome to MEMS Applications presented by the Southwest Center for Microsystems Education, a National Science Foundation Advanced Technology Education Center at the University of New Mexico. In this presentation, we're going to talk about MEMS and many of the applications of MEMS. Literally, MEMS stands for Micro Electromechanical Systems. Because they are micro, that means they are between 100 micro and 100 nano in scale. A MEMS is a device that consists of mechanical and electrical components in the microscale. Because MEMS are micro-size, they are also considered microsystems. So what about micro-sized components that don't have a mechanical part? For example, these microfluidic channels that use capillary action to move fluids from the micro-sized reservoirs through the even smaller micro-sized channels. No pumps, no mechanical components are needed. Or what about micro-sized waveguides? These are stationary components that guide frequencies, fluids, and optics from point A to point B. These devices are termed microsystems. The term microsystems encompasses all of these components, as well as MEMS, micro-sized optical devices, and biomolecular devices, and even most integrated circuits. Therefore, MEMS are microsystems. Today, the terms MEMS and microsystems have become interchangeable. Therefore, you're going to hear us use both terms throughout this presentation. Micro-optics and microfluidics are two areas in which microsystems technologies has many applications. The figure of the digital mirror device, or DMD, is an example of an optical MEMS. This device has been quite successful in display technologies. A DMD is an array of micromirrors, with each mirror being between 5 micrometers to 20 micrometers per side. Each mirror is designed to tilt on into the light source or off away from the light source. One mirror can be turned on or off over 30,000 times per second. This figure is of a micro-sized cell culture array developed by biopoets at the University of California, Berkeley. The array uses microfluidics to create an optimal microenvironment for cell cultivation. Different types of cells can be grown in vitro, meaning external from its source, and in parallel, allowing for the analysis of multiple cell growth conditions. The inset shows the environment of each array component. For radio frequency, or RF, microwave, and various communication systems, microsystems technology has miniaturized the common switch, creating micro-sized switches that operate at frequencies of 0.1 to 100 gigahertz and has switching speeds less than 100 microseconds. In the biomedical field, we now have DNA microarrays that are used to identify the presence of specific genes as well as the gene expression of a group of cells. In other words, which genes are active and inactive in a patient. These arrays are also being used to study how a person's genes react to specific treatments, medicines, and varying doses. So how do MEMS affect you? Where are they? Well, they're in your smartphones, laptops, iPads, gaming devices, and cameras. All of these devices have MEMS inertial sensors to sense rotation, tilt, sudden change in movements, and even the lack of movement. This is the circuit board for a Droid phone. The orange box shows the location of the MEMS gyroscope, and the yellow box shows the location of the MEMS accelerometer. MEMS inertial sensors are actually one of the most popular MEMS components in that they are found in many different applications, from your cell phone to your car to the space station. These components have the ability to instantly sense changes in acceleration, vibration, shock, tilt, and rotation. This is a graphic of a MEMS accelerometer that uses slight changes in capacitance between the fingers of a stationary electrode and a movable electrode. When the object that the accelerometer is attached to moves, one of the electrodes moves as well, and the capacitance changes, indicating movement. This type of device can sense a very, very small movement. This is a MEMS vibrating gyroscope, which is used to determine orientation of an object. This gyroscope uses the physical principle that a vibrating object tends to keep vibrating in the same plane as its support rotates. As the plane of oscillation rotates, the vibrating gyroscope's transducer is affected due to the Coriolis effect, which is the tendency for any moving body on or above the Earth's surface to drift sideways from its course because of the Earth's rotation. Here are just a few of the applications for MEMS inertial sensors: motion and shock detection, vibration detection and measurement, measurement of tilt and inclination, anti-theft devices, home security devices, computer screen scrolling and zooming devices, gaming devices for portables and PCs such as your Wii and PlayStations, image stabilizers for cameras and phones. This is a 3D accelerometer which is used in automobiles to sense a collision and trigger the airbag. One of the industries that has embraced MEMS early on was the automotive industry. Each automobile manufactured today has over 100 MEMS components. MEMS are used to measure tire and fuel pressure, the weight and sensing of passengers. For instance, today's cars can now sense if there is a passenger in the front seat and an estimation of the passenger's size. Cars also have MEMS sensors for automobile navigation, headlight leveling and positioning, and rollover detection, just to name a few. The medical field is another field in which MEMS technology is exploding. We now have micropressure sensors that measure blood pressure, artery pressures, and intracranial pressures. This picture shows 3 blood pressure sensors on the head of a pen. Another biomedical application that has currently been approved by the FDA for release is the artificial retinal implant. The artificial retina is a micro-sized electrode-studded array placed on or beneath the surface of the retina. The electrode array is designed to convert light to electronic pulses. Just like in the workings of the eye, these electronic pulses travel to the optic nerve, then to the brain. This array works in conjunction with an external camera on the glasses of the patient and a transmitter and receiver. Other biomedical devices include monitoring systems that diabetics can wear 24/7 to monitor and correct their glucose levels. Such devices include a glucose sensor with transmitter, a receiver, and a computer that calculates the glucose level and determines the amount of insulin needed. If insulin is needed, a micro-sized pump administers the correct amount to the patient via the cannula. Another device is the lab on a chip, or LOC, which literally takes the laboratory testing of biomolecular samples such as blood, urine, sweat, and sputum out of the typical medical laboratory and places it in the field and even at home. Using microfluidics and chemical sensors, this MEMS or bioMEMS can simultaneously identify multiple analytes or substances to be analyzed. Another commercial application of MEMS, which you are probably very familiar with, are the inkjet and bubblejet printers. In the bubblejet print head, heat is applied locally to a microchannel filled with ink. Very quickly, or in 100 microseconds, the ink evaporates, forming a bubble. The bubble forces a tiny droplet of ink out of the microchannel and onto the paper below. Another type of inkjet printhead uses piezoelectric crystals to initiate the pumping action of the micropump. As seen in this figure, an ink reservoir is located behind the ink channels. Piezo crystals are located between the channels and the reservoir. To emit ink through the microchannel, a small alternating electric charge is applied to a crystal, causing the crystal to vibrate. As part of the vibration, the crystal contracts, forcing a minute amount of ink out of the nozzle. When the crystal relaxes during the vibration, ink is pulled from the reservoir into the ink microchannel due to capillary action. Just like the bubble jet, each printhead contains an array of micropumps enabling the ability to deposit thousands of drops of ink every second on the page. Other MEMS devices include these microgrippers or tweezers, which are used in a variety of fields to clasp, pick up, and move micron to nano-sized components. These particular microgrippers are 50 microns or micrometers thick and were developed to pick and place other microdevices in an automated microassembly process. This gripper can open to pick up objects smaller than 100 microns, in other words, objects smaller than a human hair. The electronic nose, otherwise known as the e-nose, senses a variety of gases, compounds, and a combination of compounds. An e-nose has been developed by NASA for use on spacecraft to alert the crew to dangerous leaks such as ammonia. Such a device has numerous medical, industrial, and commercial applications, such as environmental monitoring, quality control, food processing, and medical diagnostics. Cybernetic insects are being developed for the purpose of surveillance as well as sensors. Such insects can be equipped with cameras, transmitters, and receivers, as well as e-noses that can be used to sense dangerous gases in inaccessible areas. This cybernetic insect can be directed into a specific target destination where the MEMS sensors gather information on the desired parameters. One of the biggest challenges right now for MEMS is power. Just think about the cybernetic insects. They need batteries that can last long enough to get the insect to the destination and power all of the MEMS on board and transmit the data back to the receiver before the battery goes dead. Therefore, many of our research laboratories are working on the development of micro-sized, long-lasting batteries. Current models include batteries with three-dimensional electrode arrays. These arrays consist of high aspect ratio, nano-sized posts. Other prototypes are being designed to literally harvest energy from the source. For instance, such batteries could harvest the energy of a person's movement to recharge the battery, making the battery last indefinitely. Other challenges in microsystems include packaging, making it durable, and in the case of BioMEMS, making the device biocompatible. We need to be able to mass produce these devices on as small a die as possible. We also have the challenge of integrating multiple sensors or devices on the same chip. For example, we want that cybernetic insect to be able to detect dangerous chemicals in the area, as well as take video of the surrounding area and transmit it back to the receiver. As with anything, we want to continue to improve upon the efficiency of the device, its versatility, and its availability. Even with all of these challenges, the possibilities of microsystems technology are endless. For more detailed information on MEMS applications, be sure to download the MEMS Application Overview Learning Module from the SCME website under Educational Materials. Thank you for viewing this presentation produced by the Southwest Center for Microsystems Education.